So this came in the mail a few days ago. Pretty excited. It's from Texas Speed and Performance. It's going to help. Also, I'm not sponsored, unfortunately, but it is going to help with this next model I'm about to do. What this is right here is the B&M Super Cooler. It's a transmission cooler. So why am I doing this transmission cooler, if you ask? Basically because in the next couple weeks, I'm going to be putting in a higher stall torque converter. It's going to be around a 26 to 2700 stall. One of my subscribers hit me up saying he's got one that he's willing to sell for cheap, so I couldn't resist the offer, and it should be shipping in the mail tomorrow, which hopefully I upload this the same day I make the video, so it'll be on a Tuesday. And yeah, it's a TCI, a bolt-on or bolt-together torque converter to where I can take it apart, put in another stall if I want like a higher stall, just change the turbines in the stator. It is a little low as far as a stall, but I mean I can't pass the offer. So yeah, I'm going to be putting that in the truck, and that's going to make it quicker without adding any horsepower, and I'll show y'all in future videos on why that is the case. But today I'm going to be installing this super cooler, so yeah, let's get started. Now first you're just going to have to take off this shield, then the grill. I know this grill is pretty nasty, and that should be about it before you can actually get to the old transmission cooler. And I know some Chevys do not have its own transmission cooler. It's built in to the radiator. There's a different way to mount an auxiliary transmission cooler. I personally don't know how. I think you just reroute the hose coming out of the radiator into the auxiliary and then back into the transmission. But mine, I already have an auxiliary one, so all I gotta do is just swap them out, which isn't too bad. So let me take this off real quick, take the grill out, and then let's get to this transmission cooler. These in a safe place. I already lost a couple a while back working on the truck, but yeah, so don't lose any. Okay, so these were the bolts, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you get these out, the top is loose, but as you can see, it's still not going to come out. What there is, it's going to be hard to see. Let me zoom in on this thing. Ooh, let's get some focus now. There we go. Alright, that puppy right in the middle. There's going to be a total of 6. I have 4 just because I put on my light bar. I had to cut 2 of them out. So I'm going to have 4. What you're going to do is take some pliers, either needle nose or some channel locks, pinch them, and pop it out. Now I got my nasty grill off. Let me take off my light bar. Once I take that off, then let's get to taking off my old tranny cooler. So here's the old dirty transmission cooler. Here's the new one. Now physically, I mean, they're not too much different on size. This one is just probably a few inches bigger, width and length. What design this one is a, I believe it's just a fin design, like just how your radiator is. And this one is a stacked plate design. This one's technically the most efficient style. It is a little bit more pricey, but you get more efficiency out of how compact it is, which it is pretty compact. It is a little wider, but as far as the actual area it takes up, isn't that big. So the part number for this one, it's 70264. It's a 14,400 BTU, so it's a pretty hefty one. You can never really overcool anything, so I wanted to get something that was in my price range, but yet was very universal. And so this one came with a lot of universal parts. I only need like 2 things, or actually probably 4 things from here. And then it comes with this hose, which is great. So with these transmission lines, there's this little plastic shield. I already took this one off. Once you take this plastic shield off, what's going to be sitting right in here is this little pin. It's pretty easy to take off. All I have is this little pick, just right here. You shove it in there, right where this corner is. right where this corner is going to be, and you could just pop it right out. That's not too hard. So now that I got this line out, basically what I did is I took a piece of wood right over the line because it makes like a L shape, and I just hit it with a hammer. I just tapped it, nothing too hard. You don't want to mess anything up, and it just popped it right out just because I couldn't pull it with my hand by myself. Now that I got that out, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, there's only 2 bolts right here to take this plastic mount out. Once I take this mount out, then I can figure out where to put my new transmission cooler. So now that I got these bolts out, what you're going to do is it just slides right forward, and there you go. Now that is the old transmission cooler right here. It's pretty small, there's only a few lines going across, so this is definitely going to be a major upgrade. So basically out of this whole kit, this is all I'm going to need. It's just these vibrating insulators, whatever they're called. These basically zip ties that go through the AC condenser and possibly through the radiator. I may just have it to where it goes through the condenser. And then these hose clamps, and then the hose right there. So that's basically it. I don't need any of the other fittings or any other brackets. They do recommend you go directly on the condenser or the radiator, just because if there's any flex in this bracket or anything, it could end up messing up the transmission cooler. I doubt that would ever happen, but this just seems like the easier method of installation with the zip tie looking things. So I'm gonna figure out a place to put it. I think I have enough hose. I'm also gonna clean these. I just put some earplugs in it just to keep any gunk out. I saw it in another video, and yeah, let me get started on that, and then I'll get back with y'all. So before I mount this cooler, I'm gonna make sure to put on these little vibration insulators. Basically, you don't want any metal to metal contact, so I'm just gonna put it between this and the AC condenser, and then once I put this on here, then I'm gonna mock it up, see where I want it, and then put on these right here. I may end up cutting them just so it goes through the AC condenser, because I tried to put it through just a test fit, and it looks like it's going to be messing up some fins in the radiator. I don't really want that to happen, so I may just have it only through the AC condenser. This is pretty light, and I imagine it's not that much heavier when it's filled with oil, so I don't see any problem with just putting it through the AC condenser. So I got these vibration insulators in right here, as you can see. Now the only way you can really mount this transmission cooler, unfortunately it can't be like stock, like the stock mount. I don't know why, but it just can't. So you can only mount it either right side up to where these are facing up, or to the side. I think it'll be easiest for me just to go right side up, and I think anywhere right here honestly should fit fine. I just may make it straight just for cosmetics, but anywhere over here should be fine. That should be good. And I already double checked, I got plenty of hose for this spot right here. I am going to have to make sure there's not going to be any kinks in the line, but I don't think it should be an issue. Okay, so I'm 98% sure this is where I want the transmission cooler. I should have plenty of hose for it. My only issue is hopefully there's no kinks, just because it does have to loop around. I saw a video on this as well of how they fix that. They basically take a wire and they attach it to the hose, and because the wire is pretty sturdy, the hose will not kink. And what I've done as well, because I'm only going to have it attached to the AC condenser, which I think is strong enough, it should be, because this is pretty light, and it's going to have 4 points, and it's going to be spread over quite a big surface area with the vibration insulator, so I don't think it's going to be an issue weight-wise. So what I've done is I just took these 2 top mounts off just so I could stick my hand behind this and attach the backs to this to the zip tie things. Okay, so there's no going back now. I just put the tabs through it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up the hose, see all what I need, cut it off, and see what this fitment's going to be like. And I should be done here within the next few minutes, hopefully, if there's no any hiccups. So let me try to get this thing going. So I apologize for cutting through quite a bit. I've just been trying to work on this, trying to get it complete before I don't have time to go to O'Reilly's, just in case I need transmission fluid. But basically what I did is it's mounted, and I went and I took the hose. It came with one hose. I cut it in half. I have it running in a loop all the way up to the top. Same with this side, loop all the way up to the top. Now with this hose, it is not a braided line, so it does get a little more malleable whenever it's heated up. So what I'm going to have to do is run a wire along with this. I saw a video on it, but we're going to wire along it. Either I would say electrical tape would look nicer, or zip tie it along there, and it will not kink with that wire on there. And what I'm going to have to do also is take some heater hose and just attach it to this little bracket, just because these are rub points, and if it's on here long enough with just bare metal contacting it, it will cut a hole into it. So I need to put a rubber material over it, so a heater hose, just so it doesn't contact that. I'm going to put an extra zip tie right here to hold this in place, and a zip tie right here, and that should be fine. This is only connected to the AC condenser, so I mean that's it. It's pretty sturdy. I didn't want to run it through the radiator because it was messing up the fins when I was trying to push it through it, but all in all, I mean, it doesn't look too shabby other than the hose. Right now it's kind of all wonky, but I just don't have it all tied up. So I'm going to finish tying it up, and then I'm going to fire it up to see if I need any transmission fluid and to see how well it's working. Won't do it before and after because, I mean, it had stock temps before, which was around 170, 180. Alright, so this is about an hour later. Again, I'm sorry about all the cuts. I've just been really trying to get this all done today. So here's another update. So what I did is, because, like I said earlier, this hose, when it gets hot, this rubber hose, it's really prone to kinking. So what I did is I took a copper wire. It's more like a copper hose, I would say. It's pretty thick, but I put it there and I put electrical tape over it. I've seen people do zip ties. I think this looks a little bit nicer. I could do like a braided metal hose, but this is what the kit came with, so this is what I'm working with. So I did the same thing on this side. I mean, it doesn't look too bad in my opinion, and I went, and since this is metal to metal contact, I just put some heater hose, I cut it up, and I zip tied it, and then that's exactly what I did back here behind the light bar. And again, I mean, this is not perfect. This is not going to win any shows or anything. It's not meant to. This is meant to work and cool my transmission. So I'm pretty happy with it, and it looks not too shabby. So I'm just going to go take it out here and test it, see how cool it gets, if there's any change. The way this one works is that it works with the viscosity of the transmission fluid. So when the transmission is cooler, it doesn't flow as much through the transcooler, so it keeps it up to temp. But yet while it's hotter, with the low viscosity, then it's going to flow more and therefore cool it down. So that's how that works. That's what it said on the box, so that's what I'm going with. And yeah, so it should work pretty fine. Now, when I put the new torque converter in, that's going to be the real test. I know it's not a high stall, so I probably don't need this transcooler, but I wanted to put it in just to be safe because I do tow sometimes, and I do quite a bit of in-city driving. So yeah, I'm going to go fire up the truck, make sure there's no leaks, and drive it around, see what it does. Okay, so this is a couple days later. I know I wasn't able to post the video on the same day that I made this. I actually wanted to go and drive it around a few times just to get a little before and after. So basically, I mean, I guess it's like a 20-degree difference, maybe a 10-degree. I haven't really been able to drive too much, but it does take a while for it to heat up to, I guess, stock temperature. The highest I got to see it was 160 degrees, which is fine. I mean, that's nothing bad. I'm hoping it's going to work once I get the new stall converter. I know 14,000 BTU isn't the highest, but it sure is a lot better than the stock transmission cooler. So let's go take a look at it real quick and see how it looks behind the grill. I know it kind of doesn't look too nice how I set it up, but you actually don't see any of that at all because it's all black and it's behind the grill. So here it is with the grill on and everything. I know this is disgusting. I'm going to tend to it when I can. Just all the rock chips and stuff. You can't really see anything even on camera and off camera. I also just realized as well, right where the bow tie is right where the transmission cooler is. So it's blocking airflow. So I think I'm gonna have to go and get a fan for it, especially for like low speed driving or anything, because it's literally right behind that. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I could have mounted it sideways, but I didn't feel like cutting the lines just in case I wanted to go back to the stock transmission cooler if I ever needed to. And yeah, so I would say I'm pretty happy with the install. It wasn't too hard. It would take you around hour and a half, 2 hours to do it. I was filming, so it took me longer. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'll put the part number down in the description and the comment section. And yeah, I mean, I would recommend this if you're going to be towing a little bit more with the stock torque converter. I probably wouldn't recommend it if you're going to tow with a high stall torque converter. Probably go with something like a 20,000 BTU or something higher. I mean, you can never really overcool it, but mine should be fine with my application with the 14,000 BTU. So if you can get higher, if it's in your price range, this was around $98 for everything in the kit, so it wasn't too bad, and it literally comes with everything you need for the install. So that's done. I'll post when I get the torque converter, and also post a lot of videos about the torque converter, what I think about it, before and after, gas mileage, all that stuff. So if you have any questions about that or any videos you want me to post testing stuff about that, let me know in the comment section, and I'll see y'all next video.